The Bill Clark Show, presented by Dr. Pepper. And now, Coach Bill Clark.
Welcome, it's the Coach Bill Clark Show. Pat Smith along with Landrum Roberts, Coach Bill Clark, and Molly Robinson. Welcome to another edition of the show, brought to you by Buffalo Rock and Dr. Pepper. Coach, how's the week been?
Good so far. How about y'all?
I like that Dr. Pepper hat. You got the T-shirt on for Coach Safely.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my Coach Safely hat.
No.
Landrum,
I'm not.
And in his mind,
I
he's
didn't
all
know.
about Coach
I didn't know today was
Coach Safely.
Big Landrum, little Coach Safely.
apparel day.
It's okay.
You look good, though.
Well, thanks.
Probably going to the golf course, I would assume.
No, not today.
Okay.
I think the stick's going to be in the bag for a while.
Oh, okay.
It's football season, Coach.
Yeah, it's true.
I got honeydews before
important
football
thing.
season starts.
Unlike Coach, who played golf all the time during the season.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. That went real well with the back.
You
injury.
would have won more championships had you played less golf.
Back injuries and golf go really good together. So
Well, it's working for Hugh Freeze.
we'll see. We will know this year, won't we?
All right, let's start with the fun topic that we're discussing before Molly turned the cameras on, and it's Auburn now finding 7 national championships in their history now. As a coach, let's just play this out. Let's say UAB goes 13-0, you win the Conference USA championship, but under the current system, for some reason, UAB is left out of the college football playoff,
Right.
and you are the head coach, and it all plays out. Would you go down the road of a Scott Frost that year in which he claims a national championship in 2017, or where do you stand on going back and finding these natties?
Yeah. So a couple things here. One, for me, I always love to have somebody else brag on us. It's like, all right, let them do all the pontificating. Now, I would say if I was in that sphere of, and I really think back Auburn with Tubbs, with Coach Tubbs.
2004.
Yeah. That's, that might be a little bit different. If I was in that air, that rarefied air, it'd be hard not to, go back to the times people got jumped, because a lot of other people have claimed that. And so it would be, I can't say I would not claim that, especially undefeated. If I felt like, all right, we've done everything right, somebody jumps us from 6-1 or whatever that is, it would be hard not to.
How important is it for programs these days, because it's so competitive when it comes to financially, at least anyways, to earn a guy's signature? How important is it for programs to slap that kind of stuff on their media guide, on their stadium, to help put themselves over the top with a recruit?
Yeah, I think they're doing whatever. Truly. It's all about a sales job. And so, when I heard that yesterday about Auburn, I wasn't really shocked. It's just that seems to be where we are now.
Let me play devil's advocate. What if you had won a championship, and then all of a sudden somebody out of nowhere decides to claim the championship that you actually won on the field?
Right. I think then, as that guy, I would be laughing at him. And I'm like, they can think all they want. We got the trophy. And, so I just think that is in this world of sell jobs and media and all this stuff that has happened. You would have loved to have seen it then, but, it's a different world now where people are doing this kind of thing. So I don't know. I just have mixed emotions about it, because I know those guys felt like probably they earned it at that time. And
Coach, I look at it like this: if you're not harming anyone else by doing this, if you're helping your Auburn fans, or you're making the family of the great grandfather that was a part of that 19 whatever team.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, but this doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
This is just helping yourself put something else out on the sign in front of your store that says, come play football at Auburn.
Yeah, that's why I said I'm not just dead set, even though I'm a traditionalist in a lot of those ways. But there are some arbitrary things to these awards. We know they are, and we've seen it happen. So I don't know. I think people are just trying to put their best foot forward in a place that's super. You're talking about competitive, as we know. It doesn't get any more competitive than that, and they're just trying to find an edge.
All right, so here we are. We are on the eve. Some teams are playing on Saturday. Meanwhile, you've got Auburn, got UAB on Thursday night next week, Auburn on Friday, Alabama on Saturday. So we got 3 straight days of the major schools in the state getting underway. Take us in that mindset of a coach as you are on the cusp of starting a grind.
Yeah, I was just talking to Coach Gross, who's at Clemson. I literally, as we were getting on the show, no secrets revealed, but just, they're in game week. He's already, because that's what you do. You try and get double. What I always did, we would double a Monday, double a Thursday, because those are really prep days. And you say, what does that mean? So Monday is a installation, or let's start the process of telling who this team is, and we doubled it. Might be in helmets, really trying to get our bodies back. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, 2 Thursdays. And does that make sense? Kind of all the little bitty details, the kicking teams, the playing the game, all those things. And so he said, hey, we're in game week. Well, they got a few days to go. So that just tells you how people think. Of course, they started school. That changes everything. I still remember, it wasn't like high school and stuff but it was starting school. That's a thing, and your practice times start to change. Now, I always changed them early. I was in Athens last week. And I know Coach Smart was talking about how the fact they had not had enough heat. Remember we had that cool snap. Yeah. I'm talking to my friend Ron Corson, who's the assistant AD there, and talking about, he said, I cannot remember cloudy 70-something degree days in August, in the middle. So just things that dynamic. Have we pushed them enough? Has it been hot enough based on what we're about to see? Is it game week yet to that point? So a lot of dynamics going on.
Quickly on that, I got another question, but quickly on that, would it be acceptable to turn the heat up in your indoor facility, make your guys practice? Could you even get away with that?
That's an old basketball thing, obviously. Right. I don't know who's ever dealt with lack of heat in August in the South. Right. I don't remember. I cannot remember that. I can just remember trying to survive. The indoors are always a thing, but they got indoors, and that's. Can you believe those years Florida State didn't have Georgia all those years? Yeah. It just I've told this story so many times. I've told it to y'all. We're sitting there. I think I remember we were sitting at 4-2 in 2014. We were getting ready to go play Middle Tennessee. I think I've told this story on the show, but it's our pavilion story. Monday, and guys, when you go bring a team out, it's like bringing an army out. They've got their gear on, they've knee braces, they've been taped. And the trainer's job is to look for any lightning. They got a lightning detector. Of course, now we have them on our phones, but they have a lightning detector. It says anything within 10 miles, you're supposed to get off the field, right? Here comes this army out on the field. You got trainers, you got all this stuff. Lightning. Where do you go? Monday, that happened to me. Well, UAB, you had the one PE gym, stuff was going on in the Coliseum. Volleyball's got a team. They are in season, right? I think basketball had just started. There's no way. Oh, and it was on the other side of campus. Happens Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I do not practice all week. We get beat 21-18. We led most. If you think practice is important. So how important is the indoor and the being able to get in, and whether it's heat, whether it's light, but the lightning is the thing, especially in the afternoon.
Yeah, especially in the South.
You just start thinking, if a practice is missed and somebody else is getting their practice, they're practicing, you're not. Well, if we think practice is important, which we kind of do. So
another big story that we covered on Three Man Front was a conversation in which one of the coordinators, one of the quarterback coaches for Auburn, they kind of detailed the play calling that's going to happen at Auburn. One's going to have first down, another second down, another third down. If you would, take us there as a head coach and someone that you also was a coordinator at one time. How does that work? Is that commonplace? Is this something that's foreign, something new? What can you explain?
Yeah, it's a good question. And it is foreign to me. But of course, you've heard of everything. You've heard of mostly run and pass game. And it would be, all right, we got to pass. What do we want? But who makes that determination? I'm the run game guy. All right, I'm giving you the ability to call pass play, call what you want. I've heard of that. I don't know how it works. I don't know how you have continuity. I don't know how you can plan things out. How do I plan ahead to the next thing? I can't believe that's true. I just can't, because it does not make sense to me. I don't know. Hey, now, when I was on the headsets and they heard that voice, they knew. And I was, and I tried not to do that. But if I said, defensively was different, but if I said, I want a shot, there was a shot called. And so, but you tried not to mess with. Mine would usually be, all right, on first down, we're taking a shot, which meant, and we talked about this all the time, second down, what's the call? Be ready for 2nd and 10, or we're in 4-down territory this series or whatever. It was sometimes I just knew something like, it was a big play, and I said, hey, I want to see quarterback draw right here. But how do you go first down, second down? I mean, and I'm sure they've got a system for it, but I don't know how that works.
How often did miscommunication or back and forth, and I know you're the head coach, what you say stands.
Yeah.
But how often did that lead to lack of time and having to burn a timeout?
None of on offense, that was not ever a thing for us. I'm not saying we didn't burn some timeouts, but that was never because I was trying to get something done. Mine was normally prior to the series, or we're going for it on. You got 4 downs. You got 2 more downs going into third. So it's 3rd and 6. You don't have to get it all. Because I'm giving you the ability to go for 4th unless you lose yardage. But that's why headsets are so important. That's why you practice with headsets on. You practice with communication. I'm wanting to be game-like. It's like I told y'all, we started a thing where we would do pre-practice, and then I would do we would go over and get Gatorade, especially because we had heat until freaking November. I wanted to see them start the game. This is the start of the game. This was pre-practice. Then we would take a timeout. I remember Jim Skidmore at Jack State got me to do that to get more Gatorade in them. We started having some fruit. I wanted the restart of the second half. They go into the thing. I wanted them to see their coach. And it was a choreographed thing. It went long, but I wanted to make them restart. They've taken their helmet off. They got some Gatorade because that's what the halftime is. So how can we simulate the game? Communication, that's everything.
So take us back. Let's say how many, whether it's offense or defense, how many coaches have the capability of input verbally on a headset during a football game for a Bill Clark team?
Yeah, that's a good question. Not many. I mean, it's defensively you would have – now, they all had the ability. I mean, they all could turn their talk on.
So they all had the opportunity if they wanted
well,
input.
We had
yeah,
that's a good question. There was a few due to NCAA rules that were listen only. You had a few just listen only, not many.
Who polices that?
Yeah, well, that's your own people. Your own people are supposed to police it. You have to turn in a headset. You have to turn in a headset list. Now, this was prior to no rules now. I don't know that there is a list anymore. I don't think there is because you can have as many people as you want.
And the reason I'm asking this question is because, like the Auburn situation.
No, it's a great question.
Okay, so you had Vincent, who's your offensive coordinator. Was he also the quarterback's coach at the time?
Yes. Yeah. So he's talking to somebody in the box. Because he's not in the box calling the play for us. So he's getting information from one singular guy. Like for us, it would have been Joe Craddock at that time. Who's at Tulane now as OC. And nothing is there unless he asks. Now, sometimes you'll ask, hey, what happened on that? And somebody can interject. But usually they're talking to you like this. They're talking between series. Because to Landrum's point, you get too much, you're going to have confusion.
And I talked to a guy that you guys would know. He served as a head coach. He's been an offense coordinator at the college level, and specifically about where he was at the time, and he had just left for another job. I asked him, how many of those plays did you call on offense?
Yeah.
And he said, I called every single one of them. Now, what I had at my disposal to call, that was dictated by somebody else.
Yeah.
How often as a defensive coordinator, though, Coach, did you have, I know that you had preset calls, coverages, you see this look, those guys are going to know to do that, so you can adjust on the fly. But how often did you call the defense thinking one thing, the play clock is winding down, your guys are set, and then you realize, I have totally put us in the wrong coverage, the wrong set?
And there was always questions about what could have been a better call, or it's just human nature. I think for us, mine was when I knew I wanted something, I'm saying it. Now, the thing for defense, once again, we've been around together now, and I've told some stories. But I had an offensive player who gets on the headset because he's got some ideas about the opponent, not just maybe their thoughts or whatever. So I see him afterwards. He's like, Coach, I thought I'd landed at the beaches of Normandy. Because you're like, what's the personnel? I mean, because they're going, especially as
it's chaos.
They're tempoing. It is chaos. But that is a control, because we're getting tempo. We're getting who's on the field. Because the difference between 10 personnel and 12 personnel is kind of a big deal, right? Yeah. 2 tight ends versus all wide receivers. Mm-hmm. And you mess that up. Now, people don't really hide their personnel as much, but with tempo and with hurried, it changes everything. And defensively, it's like I say, the defensive mindset versus the offensive mindset is so different, because the defensive guy knows I can give up 70.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go give up 100 points. Offensive guy's like, well, we can punt. I mean, defense stop them,
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm just curious in regards back to this Auburn situation. It just sounds, from a novice's standpoint, I've never been on a headset before, but it just seems extremely convoluted. But if you've been doing that like his whole life as a coach, and that's his system, then it's not foreign to him, and they can make it happen and they can make it work. But I think we all agree, if it does not work or that offense looks a little cumbersome out of the gate, that is going to be the first thing people like us on Sports Talk Radio, we're going to jump on.
Yeah, I was shocked. I would even said, and I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to let people know that all these people are involved and they make calls and they're important. It looks like disorganization. That's what it looks like. And I might say, look, man, you're going to be involved. That would be more of my deal. You're going to be involved if I wanted you to be involved. But I don't have to go and say who's got first and second and third. I mean, you just helped me defensively if it was true. Oh, no wonder they're different. Okay, let's look at first. I mean, literally, that's the stuff I'm looking for. I always said, I want to know the history of the guy. I still remember years ago, because this was not even a thing, people going for fourth downs all the time, but when the head coach is calling it, he's not going to fire himself. Y'all remember that back to Mummy? He went for all these fourth downs because he called the plays.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I'm going for it. I don't care. And so you have to be – somebody that's in a 4-down mindset like Lane Kiffin, I mean, that's a whole different mindset defensively, because they got an extra down. They don't have to get as much yards. I mean, it's just that simple.
Pull back the curtain. This point in camp, you've got your first game. Let's just say you kick off next Saturday.
Okay.
Where are you game plan-wise?
All right, so you should have gone into game 1 ready to go. I mean, that should be done. Now, what can change is you found something that fits a guy, right? Man, this guy has really had a great camp. We got to get him the ball. So when you start looking at touches offensively, we start dictating it around who looks good, who's played good. How many times do we, because that's, we go back to Bill Walsh when we started really trying to create not just opening scripts, but touches for people. How many times is Landrum going to get the ball? How many times Pat going to get the ball? And you start putting those, all right, what's the way we're going to get it to it? These are the things we like, and especially based on what they've done in camp, right? But game 1, you don't get new film. So you should be ready, right? That should have been ready from the summer, and game 2. Now, what's going to happen to game 2? You've been ready, and what would be nice if their game 1 looked very similar. Now, if they're able to, they won't show anything. But if they're playing, it's Clemson and LSU, they got to.
Yeah.
And granted, we know they're going to change up for week 2. There's going to be improvement, but you should have all that stuff ready, because I wanted to have a really good idea going into all the way into through game 3. We would even pick each team the summer. There's 7 weeks based on giving the coaches a couple weeks off. We'd have 7 opponents done, I would go reverse order. I'm giving away all my secrets. Reverse order. So at the end, I could really spend more time on the one that's going to be first. And 7's not 12, so you pick your top 7, and then your last ones are your first 2 to 3. Yeah. And so those game plans are done.
Wow, great stuff. And we were just talking about before we came on the air about Smart Bank.
Yeah.
And, even those that might not have been math majors in college, like I wasn't, but going to a place like Smart Bank, that is really smart banking.
It's kind of like Holiday Inn Express. If you go to Smart Bank, you get smarter. But the key, really being serious, what we like is that they're smart, and they're smart with their money. Once again, we said all the time, they're going to treat everybody, like they're important, especially when they're dealing with your money, and they're doing a really good job with that. So appreciate our guys at Smart Bank.
Week 0 gets kicked off in Dublin, Ireland. I'm just curious. As a coach, was there some place that you always wanted to take your team and play? I'm talking about like a locale.
Hawaii was one that we ended up picking that at South Alabama because we could not go to a bowl, even though we were an FBS team 2012.
You were on probation because you were new to the FBS.
Yeah, we were the fastest anybody ever gone to FBS. So we said, hey, let's go schedule Hawaii the last game, which was it turned out really good. It gave us something to look forward to. Thank God we did not have a game after that. So when I think of this Dublin, you got to, and I think most of those don't play week 1. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Because
see, I didn't realize till about a month or so ago that you have to get a special waiver to play in week 0. See,
Yeah,
I always
absolutely.
thought like, okay, well, if you schedule a game, so be it. But you actually
Right.
have to go through the paperwork.
Yeah, of course, we'd love to play week 0 and then take a week off. It makes total sense. Now, to travel, because especially week 0, you are not enjoying any of that as a coach. Just not. There's just no way. You've got a whole year ahead of you to worry about. You're also worried about getting home. Because literally it is, I'm in week 1, then I'm in week 2, I'm in week 3, I'm worried about injuries, I'm worried. Now, end of the year, a bowl game, there's differences there, but you were worried about that year. So, no, but Hawaii was really a cool trip.
Your support staff, how are they packing for that trip? Are you packing like you pretend that there's nothing over there that you can go and find this stuff?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's everything. You bring raincoats and extra everything. Because, it's like I say, it's like going to battle. There are things you could borrow from, but especially think of that. This is 2 teams going where there's nothing there. They don't play much football, if any. So you got to bring it all.
Does your medical team, and I know that you have partners over there that can help, but as far as the things that they pack, would that be maybe a little bit different than playing at home?
You pack a lot of, I think as far as x-ray machines, we know and all that, they would have already talked to partners there and probably planned those games around people that had stuff at the stadium. Probably
I'm thinking about prescription drugs, stuff that maybe normally wouldn't be.
Oh, yeah. They're going to bring anything that's Z-Packs or anything like that they could give, because that's going to happen in a hotel room. We're going to have somebody get sick in a hotel room that we're going to have to deal with. I'm going to tell my Georgia story from going to Georgia. And I think I said this after the first time. When I tell you amazing what they have done about return to play. You were talking about, they have partnered with, I think, Piedmont Hospital, x-rays, MRIs in the building, massage therapist, PT, 6P. And I'm like, this is what I was competing against. And that sounds like an excuse, but when we were down putting food in crock pots, and our kids, were fed good and we had UAB medicine, but to have it in your building, the volume of care, you were talking about care. I'm keeping people from injury, soft tissue injury, and I'm getting them back. And I know what's going on because that's what we started getting as our care got better. And I remember Dr. Sherry Cannon with radiology, but we started getting MRIs on time, and everybody like, "Do you want an MRI?" I said, "Yeah," because we need to know, is this guy really injured? The kid wanted to know, and we wanted to know. So that, the tie-in. It's like I always say, I'm not a doctor, but I could play one on TV because a coach deals in this part of the world so much. He's getting, guy gets his hand. Is it broke? Did we have to cast? But that care is so important.
In regards to that game, that locale, if they did come to you for a week 0, would it be more of okay, how much are we actually making off this from a monetary standpoint? Yep. Because you just laid out, it's a big old headache for a head coach to go do that in week 0.
Yeah, if you've ever been to Europe, that travel is tough. It's just, there's no way around it. It's tough flights. It's long. I would rather not. Now, if there's a big monetary gain, or name recognition, some of that. There's some of that about putting us on the table to be seen. You would have to consider all that. But other than that, you're not going to love any of the travel.
Here on the mainland, is there a place, destination you visited, you took a team to, that you said, boy, if I have my choice, I'll never come back here again? Whether it was the result of the game or the city, facilities, all of that stuff.
I'm gonna have to. We might have to come back with that one next week. I will say the bad locker rooms are the big thing, and and of course you're always looking for full service hotels. If I got a full service hotel, we were good, which meant they could prepare all the food. We had a place to go walk through. I'm telling you. You going outside and you're trying to walk through outside and worry about who sees you and the food's not right. That's the worries, and that's when you feel like you don't play your best. Or for us, those in betweens, they're that 4-hour Hattiesburg. It's a little too far. It's too close for a plane, but those are the ones. Of course, I've made so many travels as a high school coach where we were going down to play Mobile, and you learn how to do some of that stuff, but that's all the things that factor in my mind.
One thing we always like to talk about on this show is your Donahue Chevrolet, and I know they're a great sponsor here at the Bill Clark Show.
Well, besides the fact I keep mine very clean, I'm sitting here looking at all these specials. Of course, I bought my car for them. My kids have bought cars from them, but they got tons of specials. Just go to DonahueChevrolet.com and check them out. They got tons of specials right here.
Coach, this is week 0, and then next week we've got a situation where UAB's on Thursday, you got Auburn on Friday, and then you've got Alabama on Saturday. As a coach, how much are you consuming? If you're playing week 1 but not week 0, how much football are you consuming as a coach in regards to just being a guy watching TV?
Yeah. So what's going to happen Saturday? All right, first, if I'm on a Thursday, that's not Saturday. That's whatever that is, so you're really not.
So for the UAB coaches, the Saturday is really not a Saturday.
It's just just start backing up. Thursday is Saturday, Wednesday is Friday.
Right.
And so that's what it would say on the practice schedule. Saturday is Monday type deal, whatever. But that's the mindset. So yeah, there's some games on. Now, if you play somebody and they're involved down the road, you're going to have it on. And you might have the game on. Obviously, the kids are watching, but you're focused. I mean, your mind is on this game. The only time you ever get to watch games, 2 times. You come home from an earlier game. Of course, you watch them on the plane. You might watch them on the bus, but usually you're on your iPad or on your laptop breaking that film down.
Right.
Or open dates. Now, open dates are like heaven. You get to be a normal human, throw a steak on the grill and watch some games. Okay, this is what everybody's like. So.
Leading up to a game like this with a little bit of the schedule changing, going from the grind, now classes start back.
Yeah.
So you have limited schedule. The extracurriculars for your players.
Yeah.
That means girlfriend. That means buddies. Yeah. Are you really stressing at this point, guys? I know you want to, but let's stay focused, or are you going to let them have a little bit of time?
We eliminated all girlfriends. No, I'm kidding. That would have been my dad back in the day.
That would have been transfer portal for me.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think it's just about protecting the team. So what does that look like? Do I have to tell you what time to come in? Well, probably, but there starts curfews at certain times, but more if the mindset is what I do represents, just like us here. We represent each other in what we do. So when we leave here, what am I doing? Am I protecting the team? Or am I letting the team down? And that tells you a lot about what to do and where to be and how do you stay out. And hopefully you've created this culture that they know those things.
Talking about protection, the Global Canine Protection Group.
Yeah, those guys are, man, what a great story. The dogs that smell out bombs and guns. And in fact, Landrum got caught, I think, with something in the Braves game. But
it was beef jerky. Thank you, Gage.
Sure, stick with that story. But, and it's a veterans group. So we appreciate them and keeping us safe.
All right, Coach, we got a big event coming up on Tuesday night. And for folks that want to know and be a part of the kickoff of the start of the season, Tuesday night, Vestavia Country Club.
Yeah, so we'll start with media at 5 o'clock. Coach Tuberville, Senator Tuberville, maybe Governor Tuberville, Paul Feinbaum.
Maybe President
Feinbaum. I think so. I think that's really got a great ring to it. And then the rest of us underlings, will be there. But it's going to be a great night. Vestavia Country Club got great food and drinks, and we'll have a VIP reception, 5:30, 6:15, start about 6:30, go to about 7:30, 8 o'clock.
You wearing a tux?
Yeah, with tails.
CoachSafely.org for more information.
CoachSafely.org.
Okay, we want to thank everybody for joining us each and every week right here on Jocks 94.5 and, of course, on YouTube, downloading wherever you get your podcasts. For all of us on the Bill Clark Show presented by Buffalo Rock and Dr. Pepper, for Landry and Molly, I'm Pat. That's Coach. Have a great week.
This has been the Bill Clark Show, presented by Dr. Pepper.